unapologetic atheist interracial couple's progressive response to the fucking internet.
Hello and welcome to Unapologetics, the unapologetic progressive skeptic's response to the fucking internet. I am Brently, and unfortunately Nikki couldn't make it today, but we do have from the Atheist Community of Polk County and the SarahTalk podcast, we have Sarah Ray. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that Nikki's not here. I don't ever get to talk to Nikki.
I know, right? Yeah. She's not doing interviews as much lately. But, it's that way we can have, her take a break. She puts so much in for the, regular show that, she does all the planning and all that type of stuff. So I try to give her a break every so often.
The truth comes out.
Yeah.
Nikki does all the work. All right.
She does. She really does. I'm the lazy one.
Oh, that's great.
But you holding up okay? You doing all right with COVID and everything, and on lockdown?
Yeah, come on, man. We're in Florida. Nobody's taking it seriously.
No.
I don't work. I mean, I work in the Disney bubble.
Oh.
So I'm near to all of that, and while there's still some things not open, and there's still limiting capacity in a lot of things,
yeah.
like it's still an obvious. They're trying to balance, at least an appearance of safety with capitalism. Yeah,
that seems to be what it is, right? Like it's just trying to look like, hey, look, at least we're pretending to give a shit kind of thing, like that seems to be where I'm at too. And with the, schools and everything, that's how it just seems to be. We're just pretending, just put up some shields and stuff. And
yeah, my favorite thing about this whole thing is like, well, we're going to take everybody's temperature. Okay. I don't know if y'all have been listening to the experts or not, but you see, taking someone's temperature tells you whether or not they have a fever. It does not tell you whether or not they have coronavirus.
No. Yeah.
And the big thing about this particular coronavirus that is the concern is that people are running around asymptomatic. Now let's step back to 5th grade science class for a minute. Asymptomatic means they're not going to have a fever.
Exactly. And like every virus is like, this is so common for, commonplace for viruses that, they should know this just anyway, My God. Yeah, it's crazy. And that clearly is just trying to make the appearance of,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but they're checking temperatures, so I'm totes good. Totes safe, like
our school did that too. So our kids have been doing the distance learning thing.
Oh, good. That's good.
So there's still we had 3 options. You could go to brick and mortar school. You could do this distance learning thing where you're still tethered to the school that they're enrolled in, or you could go to the Florida virtual school.
Ah, okay. So there's like a half and half kind of?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So we still have, like, the teachers that are in the school our kids go to and have gone to physically, prior to COVID. It's still the same school. It's the same teachers. It's the same administration.
Oh,
so it's our school family, right?
Yeah.
So we know these people. But even they have been like trying to encourage, I would use the word pressure maybe, kids to come back to school. Like they're pressuring parents to send their kids back. And part of the story that they're using to sell it is, we're doing more than has been asked of us. The CDC recommends that you only, you have to test a certain number of kids that are coming on campus. Well, we just test every single person coming on campus. Okay, again, you're testing for fever though. You're not.
Yeah, that's not that does nothing. Like,
so we're like, no, we're not comfortable sending our kids back yet. And I think one of the things that never, that doesn't get discussed enough in all of this is that unless you've been impacted by it, unless you have had someone, close to home, get it and suffer, or worse, it's easy to kind of get lulled into that false sense of security. Like, I've been back to work. Basically, we weren't furloughed. Our schedules were modified so that we worked from home some. But now we're back on site working pretty much full time. And because nobody in our office has gotten it, like, it doesn't really hit close to home, you can kind of fall into that, like, well, maybe it's really not as bad as I know it is, because I listen to the science experts.
Right. Yeah. And you're constantly like, but I mean, what are the odds really? You know, you start doing that whole like cost benefit analysis thing in your fucking head with your life, you know, which is really weird.
That's when you end up at Applebee's with nobody wearing a mask and you come home with coronavirus.
Right. And that's when it happens, you know. It's funny. Yeah, it's like, you know, I have this weird habit, like, where I always have to put on a seatbelt. And every time when I get into a car, you know, and sit in the back seat and somebody has, like, we don't have a seatbelt in the back, I'm like, this is it. This is time. This is when I'm going to die. I know it, you know. And it's like, I still don't have that same kind of, like, understanding, though, with COVID, because it just seems so, it's like, once, you know, I don't know, it's slow coming on, so you're almost like, well, I guess it could, you know, I'm not thinking about 2 weeks ago every day. Yes. You know, where was I 2 weeks ago? What did I do?
And it's one of those things that its symptoms are so broad and common that the minute you have like a scratchy throat, you're like, this is it.
Yes,
I'm going down.
Exactly. Tell me a little bit about the Atheist Community of Polk County. Like, what is it like doing stuff? You know, for a community like that, an atheist community, and what kind of work do you do?
Yeah, so this all started early 2019. Well, it formed legally as an organization in early 2019. We started the work in late 2018. We had been going to the Orlando group, Central Florida Free Thought Community. They have a really great monthly, well, pre-COVID here, but they have a really great monthly speaker series where they would all get together, and it's a pretty big group, and bring somebody in to hear them talk, educate us a little bit, and then have some social time afterwards. And we really enjoyed that. We went to see, you know, Seth Andrews and a couple other people there. And I sort of caught a bug, like, I really wish we had this and didn't have to drive an hour to get to it.
Right.
So then I thought, well, there's lots of groups over by you guys. Tampa's got some groups. Tampa's 8 Feet.
Well, yeah.
But that's also an hour drive in the other direction.
I was just going to say, you're like pretty far. Like, it took us a while to get to you that one time.
So eventually I had just complained about it enough, I guess, that my wife, Becca, says, well, when are you going to stop complaining about it and just do it? Right. So we did. So we organized it. So we started as and if you're anybody listening, if you're in an area that doesn't have a group, first of all, there might be. So look, but if there's not one and you want to learn to start one, call me. Like, you know, we're everybody in this community, in this movement that I have met, we are all very good about like sharing our knowledge and what our learnings were as we did this. So the Central Florida Free Thought Community folks were the ones who sort of mentored us as we went out, and you have to get your employer identification number, and you have to file for 501c3 tax exemption status, and there's all of these things that you have to do to like be a legit organization. Wow. And so it was really great to have a mentor to do that, and you know, we're all about paying that kind of stuff forward. But another one of the talks we attended in Orlando was Jim Helton was at the time with American Atheists, and he was an national organizer. Oh, wow. And so he came to present a new sort of program that American Atheists was adopting. It was something that he had used in a local group that he helped put together called ACEs, and it's activism, community, education, and social, and that's changed a little bit. But the idea is that if you hit all four of those things as a group, you're probably doing really good. The groups that we look at that are being successful are the groups that are sort of meeting those four metrics.
Right.
So, because if you think about our community and how not monolithic we are, right?
The exact
nothing
opposite.
is a monolith, but definitely not the atheist community.
Yeah, it's like, well, whatever the opposite of monolith is. I don't know what that would be, but yeah.
So you have some people who want to make protest signs and go out to the marches and rallies, and then you have some people who are not interested in that at all, and then you'll have some other people who want to do the volunteering work and go out and feed people who are hungry and help others.
Right.
And those two may cross over a little bit, right? You've got these four circles of the Venn diagram, and there's a little bit of crossover, but to find one person that's all four is kind of rare.
Very unusual.
Then the education thing sort of speaks to the skeptics in the group, the people who are maybe a little more cerebral and want to learn more and just soak up information, and so that is a good way to do that. And some people, we talk all the time about when you leave your religion, you're leaving everything, and that's your community, that's all of your friends are there, your family's there, and then where do you go? What's the landing pad for people who come out of a religion to still give you that we're a social species. We need to be connected with each other. Yeah. And so for a lot of people, that just means that's your, skeptics at the pub or whatever, like, let's go out and to B-dubs and have food once a month or twice a month or whatever. So if you kind of meet all of those needs, all of those different types of people, your group's probably doing really good. And I heard him present this, and I thought, my God, this has been in my brain. These are all of the things that I've wanted a group to be, and you just gave me the PowerPoint for it.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
So we just grabbed that PowerPoint and took off running, and we started our own group. So yes, you asked, like, what are some of the things that we do? Mm-hmm. One of the very first things we did was adopt a roadway in Auburndale, Florida, and the adopt a road thing is fun because you hit the people who are environmentalists who want to beautify a neighborhood and enjoy getting out in nature, and that's finding those people in the hot summer in Florida is kind of hard sometimes. Yeah. We've got some dedicated people who just love doing it, and they do it in a tornado if you ask them to.
Oh my goodness!
In a hurricane,
Jesus! Wow. That's awesome, though.
You get some things out of that. You get a sign on the side of the road that says that in our case, that the Atheist Community of Polk County is the volunteer group that is maintaining the litter on this. It's a 2.5 mile stretch of road.
Oh, okay. Is your road more littered than other roads? Do people hold on to their litter and wait and be like, oh, there's the atheist one, let's go to there. Yeah, now let's throw our fucking McDonald's out.
We worried about that. Yeah.
Dude.
But I'll tell you, so what you get from that is, you get a little publicity, but it's also, the whole idea here is to, especially we're in Polk County, which is very conservative, very rural, very red. And so there is here more than most places, maybe that old idea of, what an atheist is. That's a misconception. That's not correct. And so just like being in the LGBTQ community and, encountering one of these people who's never met someone like that before, right. Kind of forces them to maybe question it a little bit and think about it. Same too with an atheist. They have this idea in their head of what an atheist is. And when they learn that, well, what we really are is we're out doing all of this community service work, and there's a lot of good things that are coming from us, then, for a lot of people that forces that cognitive dissonance to click on. Yeah,
and we only eat babies once a year for the whole sacrifice thing that we got to do, and
exactly.
It's just
Look, if anybody's sacrificing anybody, it's the Christians. But anyway,
exactly.
So we do this roadway thing. We do. There's a project that we got involved with another nonprofit organization here in the county called Street Warriors. And Street Warriors is a faith-based organization, and they once a week, like every week on Saturday morning, they get together and they make up food and pack it up into to-go boxes, and then they go out to Lakeland to a couple of the parks and hand out this food to people who are experiencing homelessness. Oh. Wow. And so that was something that we wanted to be involved in a big way when we first started, was that kind of community service. And so the easiest way to enter into that was to partner with them rather than create our own thing, because they've got, they have the infrastructure set up. Yeah. And they welcomed us with open arms. Wow. And it's been a really great partnership to the point now where we're sort of branching off and creating or maybe not a chapter, but an affiliate of Street Warriors. And we're going to be doing Winter Haven and on Sunday mornings. So we'll have our own team and our own dedicated resources and everything to basically do the same thing that they do in Lakeland, but in Winter Haven. So there's a lot of that, like community service has been a big piece of what we're doing.
That's and so do they they don't mind that y'all aren't convinced that their God necessarily exists or anything like that?
It's amazing. We don't even talk about it.
Oh, wow, really?
Isn't that great? Yeah. It's and that was part of the agreement when we went into it, was the idea that, like, look, you don't proselytize to us and we're not going to laugh at your religion. Like, we're here to feed people who are living on the fucking streets.
Right.
I think we can put aside our differences to do the good thing.
We both have a common goal here. That's awesome. Yeah, and I love that.
And everybody was in agreement. Like, yeah, of course, duh. It's just, it's maddening that we live in the richest nation in the world, and yet people are sleeping under fucking bridges. And if I could house them all, if I had that kind of capital, I'd do it. There'd be tiny home communities all over this county.
Right? Oh, yeah, I know. That's funny. We were just talking about that. Like, why can't we just start a little community of tiny homes and everybody can just live there? Like, that's...
And, I mean, because the research shows that if you house first, that helps all of the other things, right? So that the old method of how do we handle homelessness has been, well, if we're going to help you, well, you got to get off your drug problem first, or you got to go to church, or, here's all of these hoops that we want you to jump through in order for us to help you. Where if what we should be doing is just help people, get them into you can't expect somebody to beat a drug addiction if their basic Maslow's needs are not being met.
Right. Yeah, if they're outside and shit, they only know the places that they go to, and they tend to be around one another, and that just perpetuates the drug problem. Most of the time,
this is basic. We know this.
Yeah, and it's like most of the time they don't want to be. I was homeless, so I know, for a while there, about a year. And yeah, I mean, there's no place to go. You don't want to go someplace by yourself because then it's almost dangerous. You want to go where you kind of know some people, and they'll kind of help protect each other. But that's where all the drugs are too. So it kind of is this double-edged sword. But wow, that is, and yeah, I totally agree. They just need to provide the basic things that we need to live, and then people can get better from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you about one more program that we started. Called It Takes a Village. And this was born out of unlikely maybe not unlikely friendships. I got into a conversation with one of the people who is she's an educator with Planned Parenthood. And our initial conversation was about a really bad experience in healthcare that I had as a trans person at the Planned Parenthood clinic here. And that's kind of how we met. And then that just really took off into all of this other stuff that we do now. And so she called me one morning and said, Sarah, I'm getting a lot of calls from social workers that people are just really not doing well right now. And this was like early in the pandemic, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
People are being furloughed. They're losing their jobs. They don't know where their food is coming from. Many of them are, multiple families living together. We have a pretty substantial migrant farm worker community. And so they're not working. Like, right. This coronavirus just kicked everyone's ass. Yeah. And so she started hearing this buzz. What can we do? And so we decided to start a food pantry, but we did it a little differently than most. Obviously, we didn't want people to be coming to us, like to a physical store space to get food, because of coronavirus concerns. And so we created almost like a DoorDash sort of food bank delivery program. And the intent was, like, we really want to focus on people who are unable to get to a traditional food pantry, right? So maybe your car's broke down and you don't have the money to fix it, or, you lost your job so you can't buy gas, or whatever the issue is that's keeping you from getting to a traditional food pantry. We want to step in and bring the food to you.
Wow.
And that's where it all started. And it's been interesting because my peers in this leadership team are starting now to learn how social safety net systems are run in this county. And by that I mean they got a complaint from someone. Well, not a complaint. Somebody was talking about another food pantry or food bank location, and apparently a guy had gone there and felt very frustrated because he felt like he had been held hostage for an hour listening to church service before he was allowed to get food.
Oh my gosh.
And that is far too common among religious community service programs.
Yeah, and that's a perfect way to frame it, because the sad thing, I remember doing these type of thing where we would go downtown and like hand out food. But hold on, no, the food's here. You're not allowed to touch it yet. Yep. We're going to talk to you from the state. While the food all gets cold and like nobody, and by the time you can have the food, nobody wants the food, and like, oh my God, it was just, how stupid.
Yep. So we took that approach of just feed people. Just feed people.
Yeah.
The end. I empathize with you. The situation that you're in is bullshit, and if I could do more for you, believe me, I would. This is all I can do, though. I hope it helps you.
Wow, that's
it. Like, that's, and there's, I have no expectation that you're gonna do anything or say anything. And a lot of people have been so conditioned by the religious services that a lot of them who aren't religious will play religious.
Yeah.
And,
I hear that a lot.
God bless you and all of this stuff, whether they believe that or not, because they think that's required, because that's how it's been. It just drives me nuts, man.
Yeah, and those are the people that they feed me, and they're nicer to me when I agree with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I feel like a lot of just religion in general is, kind of nodding along. Like the reason that religion has taken such a hold, I think, over all of us is that we're the ones that are expected just to nod along. You know what I mean? And they're the ones that are allowed to just be like, yeah, because Jesus did it. And you're just like, yeah, of course he did. And that's all. Like, we have to do that. But it's like, if we were talking about logic and reason and stuff like that, talking about, I don't know, Socrates or something in the Euthyphro dilemma and how, that's cool or something, they would get all upset. You know what I mean? Yep. And it's like, we can't talk about what's interesting to us. We just have to nod along to what's interesting, what they find interesting.
Yep.
It's just, wow.
So my hope is that as an organization, we, like, our goal is to really grow these programs and, kind of become a powerhouse in the county of, this is how it's done. This is how you do it. Let's just take care of people. Maybe that's creating a grant program where we do build a tiny home to give to someone. And maybe we can't build a whole freaking community and get everybody off the streets. But if we can get one person into housing, then that's something, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
you go from there. So there's so much I want to do.
Right. And that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you can't fix everything, but it's like every bit that you do improves people's lives that much, right? And that's what matters, you know? That's so cool. I definitely, if y'all out there, please, do you have like a Patreon page or something for ACPC, or the Atheist Community of Polk County?
We have a Patreon for the Free Thought in Florida show. And you can go to polkatheists.org/donate to throw money at us.
Yeah. Okay.
And all of that goes directly to the ACPC. You know, that's none of us. We're all volunteers. All the board of directors. We have no there's not a president, vice president, secretary, treasurer hierarchy. We're an egalitarian board. We're all equal, and we don't have any paid employees at this point, anyway. We have dreams of having a community building and a library and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll do it.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
We're a baby group.
Yeah. You know, just give it, you know, like 25 years. It's gonna happen. It's going to happen. That's so awesome.
So another thing that you just that we segued through there is Free Thought in Florida, which is a talk show that I do for the Atheist Community of Polk County. Yeah. And it's a work in progress too. I'm not doing it on a structured schedule yet, which is actually kind of good because that allows me the flexibility to, you know, work around other people's schedules. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of an interview show, but it's really laid back. I've had on Seth Andrews and Dr. Darrell Ray and Monica Miller from the American Humanist Association and Andrew Seidel from the FFRF. And then some, you know, well, my friend Jennifer was just on the last one. She grew up Catholic, and so we just sort of talked about personal experiences and that sort of thing. I've had on, I think one of my favorite episodes, I shared this in a thread that you asked about, is I had on Bailey and Elle Harris, and they're kids that are authors. They're these published authors, and they're just the coolest kids on the planet.
Yeah,
and my son, who's 10, helped me co-host that episode so that they could kind of have a conversation around, you know, their experiences as kids being atheists and humanists, and, you know, what do the kids at school say about religion and that kind of stuff. So that was really neat.
Yeah, that was that was super fascinating. Like, I watched, I was like, wow, this is so cool. It's like all the stuff you think in your, you know, in your head. You're like, wonder what, you know, kids would think of this stuff. And here it is. Here's the kids talking about it. And that was fascinating. I
would love to produce a kids show, a kids humanist show. I think that would be really neat.
Oh, that would be neat.
I want to hear, like, my kid will go off on rants and tangents about, you know, wildfires in California and the coronavirus, and like, he's keyed in, man. Wow. I was telling somebody earlier I had a conversation with, I used to have an electric weed eater, right? Oh, yeah. And it used batteries, and the batteries, one battery wouldn't do the whole yard. So I had to have two batteries. Well, then you have to charge one while you're using the other one, and then you got to wait for that one to be. It's just a big pain in the ass, right? And eventually, the batteries don't hold the charge as well. So then they really don't work, and it takes three or four battery cycles to do the whole yard. And so finally, I was just like, "Fuck this thing! I'm done." And I went out and I bought another gas-powered weed eater, which I haven't had for a long time.
Like normal people, come on, like
normal people. And my 10-year-old gave me the talking to of a lifetime for that's bad for the environment, and you should be, what happened to the electric one? And oh yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. Wow, it's really got, like you said, keyed in there. It's like, dude, no, you can't. No, you're not allowed to do this.
On one hand, I'm
voting.
like, yeah, parenting win. Way to go, me. And on the other hand, I'm like, shut the fuck up, you little asshole. You don't talk to me like that. You
don't
go
get to
weed
shame
in the
me.
yard with the crappy battery-powered one and tell me what you think about it.
That is so funny. That's awesome, though. That's what we need in this world, though.
Yeah.
I mean, these because they understand like what's at stake here, and it's
The
serious.
quicker we can let these kids have control, the quicker we'll be in a better place.
Right.
Speaking of which, is it November 4th yet? I can't.
Oh gosh, I'm
I can't
terrified.
think.
What do you think? Are you ready for an uprising, a civil war? What do you think?
I don't know, man. I'm not confident.
Yeah.
That's my feeling. I'm not confident. Here we are again. Nate Silver and 538. The polls are showing Biden way ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Don't vote like Biden is way ahead. Vote like he's 5 down.
Yes.
Because I just don't trust. I don't know what to. I don't know. Like Florida statistics have come out that 10 was it 10,000 or no? It had to be more than that. 100,000 maybe. More Democrats had voted than Republicans, and I was like, don't share that around, guys. The reason that number looks the way it does is because we all went out and voted early or voted by mail early,
Right.
And the Republicans are more likely to show up at their polling place on election day.
Yeah.
So don't just anything is possible right now. Don't read into any of that shit.
No, just make sure to get. And I do think that we do need to vote. And I hate to say this because it's not safe, but we do need to vote in person because it seems like and tell me if I'm wrong, because maybe I'm just misunderstanding this whole fucking thing. Now, first of all, Florida's a very it's a state that seems to be a major battleground state and could be the state that decides it all.
Right. And almost completely always goes red.
Yes, yeah, I know. That's why I used to. When I was growing up with my, as a Christian and stuff, I always said, "Hey, we're a Republican state," but we really weren't. But that's what we go right so frequently that.
Yep.
But it seems to me like Trump is okay. So first, he downplays the virus, right, so that his people aren't afraid of it, and he knows that Democrats are, have an appropriate amount of respect for the virus, and so then he disenfranchises the vote by mail, and so then all of his people go out and vote first. I feel like that's all he cares about. As long as he can get his people to go out and vote first, and do it in person, then while we're counting the ballots, it doesn't matter because he's just going to say that it's all a sham and they're cheating and all this. Because I already won, all of the in-person voting shows me winning. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then he can, and it's like then he can just take and then it gets up to the Supreme Court, and then hey, it's like, look, Amy, this is why I put you here. You're gonna go. Am I gonna be president or what? I'd hate to have something bad happen to you. Oh, jeez Louise.
I feel like, I'm torn because I feel like no matter what we do, he's going to, if he loses, it's going to be, this is all a sham and the Democrats stole, whatever.
Yeah.
There were UPS trucks full of fake ballots that were all for Joe or whatever. No,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we do.
No.
If he loses, that's going to be the narrative.
I mean,
What my question would be, I think, is, and this is one for Thomas and Andrew over at Opening Arguments. Okay, let's say Trump loses, and he calls into question the validity of the mail-in ballots.
Right.
And that goes to court, right? The Supreme Court has to step in some way. Like, I want to see those scenarios played out a little clearer. I will tell you that we did vote by mail. And only because our county supervisor of elections is trustworthy. She's been in this role for a long time. We just reelected her, as a matter of fact, in the during the primaries. But you see things like in Texas, where they were taking ballot boxes down to one per county or whatever.
Yeah, that's crazy. You
don't see that. You don't see that here. Not in Polk County, right? It may happen in other places, but our supervisor of elections is not one of these crazy howler monkeys that's letting this stuff go. She has the one at the supervisor of elections office. There's another one at the elections headquarters, and then during the early voting period, you can go to any early voting location, and there is a drop box there for your mail-in ballots too.
Oh, wow.
So awesome. She's doing it right, and that gives me trust and confidence in, at least in our county's processing of it. Now, then I can go on our county supervisor of elections website, and I'm sure everybody can do this, and track it and see. I can see that it has been received, and I'm waiting now to I keep refreshing it to see when it has been counted.
Wow, so it's like a UPS package or something. You can track, you can track where it's at.
Yep.
Wow.
That gave me a little confidence, if that helps.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. It's like that's what I'm planning on. I'm just planning on doing the early voting. Going down there because I was just like, fuck it, dude. I want to get my vote in person so that and encourage people to do that so that he can't play this fucking game. Of okay, I won. Stop counting. Stop count. Hey, what are you doing counting? Get over. Get off. Get done. You're done.
It's funny because I maybe I sort of fell into a bit of that panic when we first started talking about voting and coronavirus and all of this stuff. It was early still in the pandemic, and we didn't know what was happening and what things were going to look like. And so my wife and I, we decided let's do vote by mail this time. We've never done it before. Let's do vote by mail this time because I don't want to go to the polling place and all these other people, and I don't know what they have and all of this stuff. And so we did that, and then I don't want to say it. The pandemic has been less bad than I thought it was going to be. I don't know what words to use for it, but now I'm thinking, well, every time we go to our early voting location, it's at the public library, and there's never anybody there. We've never had to wait in line to vote ever.
Right.
So maybe we could have just done it in person after all. Right.
But but who knows?
We didn't
this
know
election.
In March or whatever. We didn't know.
Because I feel like a lot of times, I'm hoping. I'm very hopeful. I don't have faith. I have hope that because things are so bad that all the Democrats, are just like, oh yeah, I would be a Democrat, but I don't really vote. Or all those people are out and coming out to vote this maniac out of office.
Mm-hmm.
But
we'll tell you this too, and here's your activism component of your ACEs for the day. If you do vote, and you do vote in person, and your polling location is a church, and this is a thing, my polling location is actually a church, and I've done it because I don't want to have to go to a church to participate in the election. But in a way, I feel like I should, and I would encourage anybody listening, if you vote in a church, there are some things to look out for. There are rules that they have to follow. You can't walk past a literature rack of, pamphlets about you're gonna go to hell or whatever. They can't proselytize at you. They can't. They are not allowed to hand out a little goodie bag that has a cup with a logo of the church on it. None of that stuff. Okay. FFRF has a great write-up of sort of what's allowed and what's not in their FAQs. Familiarize yourself with that, and if you see a violation, let them know.
Yeah.
Let the FFRF know. Let your supervisor of elections know. Because that stuff is, again, right, this is your religious people taking advantage of situations.
Yeah.
Don't let them get away with that.
But, and that's something that they like to do. They like to go ahead and just break the law You know, and it's interesting because right now I'm actually reading a book from somebody you interviewed, Andrew Seidel, the Founding Myth, and it is fascinating. That shit is amazing. I'm just like, wow, they really were a lot more like secular than we are fucking right now back then, and you know, or at least respected the separation more than you know we do right now.
Religion. So, once upon a time, religion was a very personal thing, right? Your relationship with God was a you thing. It wasn't a, like, let's go out and take over the government thing. When that happened, I'm actually getting ready to interview, what is her name? Catherine Stewart. She's the author of The Good News Club, which is a book that came out about 10 years ago, and she just came out with another book called The Power Worshippers.
Well,
I don't know if you've heard that.
that's so poignant. Like, wow.
It's let me see if I can zoom it in because I can't read the front screen. Oh, now it's going to play it. I don't want to play it. I want to see the cover. God damn it! Inside the dangerous rise of religious nationalism. So Andrew sort of takes a Christian nationalist sort of hyper focus on the Christian evangelical right, where this is a little more broad about religious nationalism, sort of a little bit more generally. But it's interesting because they talk about how, and tell me if this is true for you, for my generation, for me, we're sort of led to understand that the marriage between the religious right and the Republican Party happened over abortion.
Right. Well, and I mean, that's
not true.
No, it was segregation at first.
It was segregation, yeah. And then when that became unpopular, then it was like, oh, well, I guess we can't make it about race anymore. Let's pick a new thing.
How can we emotionally manipulate people? Yeah.
Prior to that moment, Christians didn't give two shits about abortion.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, and it's just like, because we had to find something that gets people angry on a different level than, you know, their religion and whatnot. And it's like, thinking that people are killing babies, like that's an emotionally driven thing. Yeah. And same with the segregation. That was emotionally driven as well, you know. It's like, hey, we can't have these different types of people coming in and just taking over. Then we're going to be the minority, and then what? You know, it's like it's all fear and emotional driven. It's crazy. Wow.
So now we're seeing, you know, this Amy Coney Barrett being shoved into the Supreme Court to overturn Roe and Obergefell. That's the plan. That's the goal.
What's what was the second one you said?
That was marriage equality.
Oh, okay. Right.
Obergefell. And so, you know, they want to undo all of that. But it, you know, and it makes me wonder, like, when it gets to the point. That's not if. When it gets to the point that abortion becomes such a non-issue again, like, you know, like when we decided that, hey, we're not going to own each other anymore,
right.
And you can go to school at my kid's school now. Like once that sort of, when they saw the writing on the wall that segregation, it just, this is the dying thing, and we need to get off of that horse fast.
Yeah.
I wonder what horse they're going to jump onto when abortion becomes the dying horse that they find that they need to jump ship from. What's next?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, what's the next emotionally driven?
But I think we've set that back very far in electing Trump, and he has flooded the federal judiciary with these right-wing activist judges.
Right.
And then, you know, we've seen what's happening with the Supreme Court. I don't know that time is going to be in our lifetime now. I don't think we're going to be here to see that.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like everything's happening so fast now. It's everything's so fast.
But it's happening fast in a backward direction.
That is true.
Hit the fucking brakes. Hit the brakes.
I mean, every time we've moved forward, you know, in progression, you know, there's been this tug of war, you know, before it goes, right? But the tug of war is happening a lot faster. That's all. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. But yeah, absolutely.
We take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, and then but if you elect a black president twice, then it's 17 steps back.
Right? Yeah, because
We're gonna go way back.
They said they just were building up animosity, and like, once we get power back, we're gonna fuck these motherfuckers. You know, like, just stewing for 8 years. You know, like, Jesus Christ. So one thing that is I thought is what was really cool, and I remember this was one of those things where I was scrolling. You know, I do my daily scroll through the Friendly Atheist blog, and I saw your picture come up, and I'm like, oh, holy shit. I was like, there's Sarah. What the fuck? What's going on? What's going on? And it was so fascinating. So you had what I call an invocation adventure. Do you want to tell me about that a little bit?
Well, I'll tell you. When your phone lights up Hemet Meta on the screen, holy shit. Woo. Right. That was something else. So invocations, I am of the opinion. It's hard to figure out where to start the story, but I was one of those people that I just didn't care. Like the Central Florida group, they do hundreds of invocations, and I'm just like, I don't get it. That's not my passion. Like, I'd rather go do this other stuff, right?
Right.
I was changed in this adventure, and how I feel about that. So we had a member of the community reach out to us, Lake Wales resident, that said, so I did an invocation in May at the Polk County Board of County Commissioners.
Right.
And that was the second of its kind. The year before, Joseph Richardson did one there from the Orlando group. And so, you know, we're starting to pry the doors open and you know, make ourselves a space at the table. And so this person reached out and said, hey, I saw the invocation that you gave at the county. Would you be interested in doing something like that with the city in Lake Wales? And not knowing anything about the city of Lake Wales, other than they have, you know, Bach Tower Garden, which is just beautiful. Fucking rich guy just, you know, built this giant tower in the middle of nowhere with the clarion bells, and it's just amazing.
That's so Florida.
He was a religious nut job too, Edward Bach. That's an interesting deep dive. But so that's all I really knew. So I said, yeah, if they'll have me, sure. Like, I'll write in, find out what the deal is. So I wrote, and the city clerk, I wrote the city manager. The city clerk wrote me back and said, typically, we have a chaplain, a pastor who gives the invocation. When he's not here, then either the mayor does it, or unless somebody else asks to do it. And I said, okay. And she said, so when would you, extended the invitation? When would you like to come do an invocation? And I've now learned in the looking backwards at this, that message was on the advice of the city attorney, because he was at least smart enough to know that they could not say no to me. Right, legally, they had no legal basis to. Yeah, that would have been real bad. We would have been in court if that would have happened, probably. Yeah. So they allowed me to come. A few days, maybe a week beforehand, two of the commissioners were quoted in a local paper. Well, it's not a paper; it's a website, but run by some resident that does news for the city. And there's things that are happening in the city, not for the city government, but right. And so in that article, they talked about how why does someone from Haines City want to come to Lake Wales? So there's like an outsider in-group, out-group thing going on. What's an atheist got to pray to? One of them said, I will probably leave the room. Another one said, I'm going to leave my Bible on the dais and leave the room. And so that was that got out into the public before it ever happened. So we show up the night I'm to give this invocation, and there's a fucking prayer circle outside. Jeez. And it's just this whole big thing. People got up and spoke during public comments about, how this is a good, godly Christian town and all of this stuff, right? And there were some people who spoke up in defense of, separation of church and state and my right to give an invocation.
Oh, good. Good. At least there's
yeah,
a couple sane people in the crowd there, yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of a mixed bag. And so I gave the invocation. People got up and got to express their constitutional frustration in the open comments period. They got their right to free speech. And then we walked away, and that was it. And then at the next work session, the commission decided that they really probably ought to have a policy written down, because they didn't really have a policy. They thought they had a formal chaplain. But he wasn't a formal chaplain. He was just their favorite preacher that they called chaplain, and he came in to do these prayers.
Right.
And so it was 99.99999% Christian prayer, right?
Right.
So they decided we're going to write a resolution and put this down in writing, so that this is how it is. And it went through a few different variations, probably because we went and pushed back. So they were trying to restrict it down very, very tightly to who could speak. They wanted, their goal was, we want Reverend Moyer to be our chaplain, formally put it on paper, appoint him chaplain. And then when he's not here, then we can find a pastor from another church to come in and give the prayer. Well, it's not a prayer, but it's an invocation. But we're splitting hairs because you all don't understand what this is all about anyway.
Right. That's it right there.
A big part of, I was trying to impress upon them a few things. One, if this prayer is to be, if this invocation, what is the purpose of it? Is it for you, the people who are on the board, or is it for the community at large? If it's for you, the board members, then go pray in private before you come out to chambers to start the meeting. Pray privately. Nobody has a problem with that. If it's about the community, you're not representing the diversity of the community of the constituents that you represent.
Yeah.
And so you really need to reach out to an imam or a rabbi or an atheist, humanist, whatever. You're only representing a certain segment of your population. And that was the one piece. Yeah. And then the other piece was, this board is made up of, I'm going to get the math wrong. It is a majority people of color, and there are 2 women on the board.
Okay.
Is that right? 1 woman. No, there's 1 woman on the board.
Of course there is. That's
and so I tried to appeal to the common experience of being a minority in this country.
Right.
Atheists are minorities. Period. That's it. We are treated differently because of this, just like people of color are, just like women are. And I'm a trans person, and on top of that, and that just fucked everybody up. That whole town, man, the torches and pitchforks came out over that. This old guy Virgil, who was a retired dentist, and now he pastors a small church down there. Every meeting, he gets up with his little cardboard box and his notepad on top, and he talks about how God made us male and female, and you can't change that, and all of this nonsense.
Wow.
So we tried to make these cases. We tried to, because my goal is not to just come in and litigate everything. I don't want to go to court.
No.
I don't want to do that. And so the idea is let's appeal to our humanity. That was my whole invocation was, we are more alike than we are different. And if we can come together on the things that we have in common, then build from there. That's how we make things. That's how society functions. That's the thing. And so I call upon you, the people who are leading this community, to find that common ground and seek out our differences to work together, and all of that unity. That's all it was.
Yeah, and it was much more American than any invocation that Christians could do. Because they're just it's all about me and us and those people that just think like me and believe exactly what I believe. And you're like, no, man, we all got to come together. That's the whole thing. Like the e pluribus unum, out of many, one. That's what we're all about here.
Yes.
Is getting along even though we're all different. And that's American right there. And it just drives me nuts that they're like trying to rewrite what American is.
2 of the commissioners did indeed walk out. One of them did leave their Bible on the dais in protest, and come to find out, he has mixed parents. One was Jewish and one was Catholic or something like that. So he had a different take on like religion, and
we should know better than anybody. That's right.
We thought we had him. So at the end of the day, they finally put together a resolution that allowed for their appoint a reverend to be the chaplain. Their guy got to do it most of the time. And when he's not there, what they'll do is the city is going to create a list of people to speak in his absence. And that then when he calls and says, hey, I can't be there on the 13th, well, then we can go down the list starting at the top and reach out to this person. Hey, are you available? Do you want to come do it? If they say no, you go to the next person, and they just keep going, right?
Right.
And so the criteria on which they created to get that you could get on the list was that you had to be, and it says in the resolution, a pastor or faith leader, clergy person. That's what it says. A pastor, clergy person in Lake Wales, or with a presence in Lake Wales. Their lawyer was an idiot. He didn't even know what he'd written. We got into this conversation with another resident who I'd never met before. And she was like, I'm an atheist, and this makes, like, when you do this Christian thing every time, guess how it makes me feel? I feel just like you feel right now, having to hear from somebody who's not of your belief system. I feel that every time I come to these meetings. And I was like, get it, Grandma. I'd never met her before, but she was awesome. And so the question came up about whether Mrs. Bennett could come and give an invocation or not. And we're reading the thing, and it says right on you wrote this. It says you have to be a clergy person or lead a congregation, and she's not. And she's not even involved with our group. And the city attorney who wrote the thing didn't really know, and they just kind of, well, if she lives in the city, yeah, sure, of course she can come do it. Well, that's not what you guys wrote down. Right. And then they voted on it, and the one commissioner who was who's a former private practice attorney in private practice, he knows the constitutional questions around this, and so he voted against it. And then the other guy, Goldstein, we expected him to vote against it too, but he sure didn't. Wow. He voted for it, so it went down, 6-1 or whatever it was, 5-1, however many there are. So they passed this policy. It's still very restrictive. I did reach out to the city clerk, and the city clerk said that I cannot come back and do an invocation, which was a big part of their goal. But she said that I could not, but someone from our group who is a resident of Lake Wales can. Jeez. Well, there's not many, first of all, and of those who are, first, I want to make sure that they are going to represent our organization well.
Right.
Second, they have to want to do it.
Yeah.
Let me reverse that order. They have to want to do it. And so now I went to this thing, and I walked into the witch burning down in Lake Wales, a trans atheist person, and everybody saw how I was treated.
Yeah.
Who do you think wants to get up and do it next?
Right. Exactly. So, you just made it even
well
harder.
Done. You guys did exactly what you intended to do. You scared everybody off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfucking believable. Jesus Christ. So is it now? It's a policy now that they don't let anybody. So technically somebody could do it. Basically.
Yeah. If we had one of our residents in Lake Wales, who's in our group, could go and do it. Yes.
Okay, but it's like they put up these parameters to try to basically make it so exclusive that you can't be like, hey, I'm part of the same county, and
right.
That
was our argument. Our 501c3 nonprofit organization is the Atheist Community of Polk County. We have members in every city in the county. We do work in every city of the county. Now, this is the beautiful postscript of this whole story. But before I say that, so Hemant wrote about us. The Americans United blog had a thing on us. There's like 17 pieces of press that came out about this whole thing. That's awesome. That you can read on our website if you're interested. But at the end of it all, we sort of walked away and went, well, I'm not surprised. In fact, I'm surprised they weren't as restrictive as they wanted to be in the end. And then a few weeks later, one of the commissioners who walked out on me, Commissioner Curtis Gibson, decided that he was going to hold a pop-up roadway cleanup in Lake Wales. Well, as you and your listeners know by now, this is what we do. So a whole shit ton of atheists show up to this cleanup in our Atheist Community of Polk County safety vests. We've got pickers. We've got our bags. We have all of our gear with us. We'd show up ready to go. And they were all like, wow, you guys have done this before, huh? I'm like, yeah, if we can just talk for a minute, you'll see that we are not that different and that we have similar goals and we care about similar things. And so it was a great opportunity to go in, not really to poke the bear, but just to show what I said during my invocation about unity and finding common ground and all of that connective humanness stuff. Yeah. Now this is us putting it in action. This is what we do, and you haven't seen that yet, but we're here today to show you. And schedule another one. A bunch of us will probably show up to it too.
Wow. Yeah. See, and that's just demonstrating that what you said in your invocation was like what you're all about. You know, it's not. These aren't just words. You know,
we live it.
That's right. Like, you know, the Book of James says. You know, got to put action to it. No, but. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. That's so cool. So please, if anybody's out there, just, you know, and you got some extra money, please go to the website. We're going to link it in the show notes, and please donate and just do whatever you can. If you're in those areas, you know, try to get out there. It's fun. It's fun to go hang out with people, you know, and do a good thing together.
It sucks that we can't do as much of that right now as we were doing before. We have to limit, even with Street Warriors, you know, we're limiting the number of people that can get together to pack up the food. And, I would hate to be the person who brings COVID into the homeless population.
Ooh, yeah.
That would kill me. But at the same time, they still got to eat, man.
Right.
Like, what do we do?
Exactly. So
that we've been doing a lot of talking in the background about that and how we balance, like, taking care of these people, but also, like, you know, so we put masks in the bags to give to them so that they have some kind of protection too. And
good.
We're trying to think through all of those things. But yeah, just the community is so important, and not being able to get together like we used to. We tried to do Zoom group meetings, and they just kind of, we were playing Jackbox games for a while, and that was kind of fun. And then that kind of, like, I think a lot of us went back to work, I think is the truth of the matter.
Yeah. But, I mean, once that, like, okay, doesn't matter anymore, so it's actually not a big deal.
Yep.
Only 0.06 people actually died of just the coronavirus, so whatever.
Only, right. Let me tie a bow on that last thread about the invocation. What I said was that I didn't care about them and now I've changed my mind. And the reason I changed my mind is because I was treated the way I was treated.
Right.
And so, like, that really showed me, like, okay, well, now I look at Lake Wales and people are scared to step up or don't want to get involved or whatever. Like, somebody has to still be that person who's willing to get out there and, you know, make those first steps and show this is what atheists really are about, and this is what humanism is, and this is what it means to us. And so now I see the invocation a process much more as an educational thing than an activisty thing. Like, I'm not doing it to go try to be a whatever. Like, I'm trying to educate the commission that they have non-religious people that they serve and what that means and who we are and all of that kind of stuff.
Right. just letting people know that you're there. You know, that's a very important aspect, because a lot of these bubbles, for like people like me, like that were raised homeschooled and weren't allowed to talk to anybody that wasn't a Christian. We didn't know y'all were there. Like, I had no idea that they were. According to my understanding, I was told, like, yeah, the world's out there and it's all evil and stuff, but we're doing what we can to try to control the world. Like, I don't know. It was this cognitive dissonance weird thing that was going on. But
and if we don't go out and do these invocations, they will continue to be 99.99999% Christian.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be the one to stand up and go, "Hey, us too."
yeah, and that's so important.
I guess it's me.
Yeah, and you did it.
I'm it.
That's awesome.
Oh,
well, we usually like that. We like to play a game on our interviews where we just do the thinking cap, where we just pull thoughts or we pull just phrases and stuff out of my thinking cap, and we ask you your thoughts on it. So you want to play?
I love it. Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, cool. So, let me see here. Okay. Logic, bro. What are your thoughts?
I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Let me tell you one thing. So, I was having a conversation. This is an adjacent answer. I was having a conversation with someone with the Humanist Society. Okay, so they are sort of loosely affiliated with the Humanist Association, and they are the ones who endorse celebrants and lay leaders. So, sidebar: I am now a humanist celebrant. If y'all want to get married, I can do that for you.
What? Okay,
that's a thing I can do now. But it's also about like helping people just go through the goalposts of life, really, and celebrate the milestones and in ways that are not religious, right? That's really what the celebrant's role is. So it could be a new baby, or maybe you're trans and you're getting your name changed, and we want to have a celebration about that, or a celebration of life, an end of life, whatever. So anyway, I was talking to somebody in that organization, and we got into this conversation about like the cerebral wing of the secular movement.
Yeah.
I'm not in it. I'm not there. I can listen to, fucking Dillahunty and Eric and these guys talk about all of this stuff, and that's great, and that's your thing, but it ain't my thing. I didn't go to college. Let me take that back. I went to college 3 times. I didn't finish college. And so, like, just there's a lot of cerebral thought that happens, and I think logic is one of those that I don't care. But people want to talk about free will. Talk about free will. I'm going to go get a drink. I ain't got time for that shit. I got a life to live. It doesn't matter if I have free will or not, unless knowing the answer to that affects that I have to go to work tonight. I don't care.
Right. I totally feel on that. Like, and it's almost frustrating for me because, like, I am fascinated by it, but I feel like there's so much that I'll never ever be able to actually talk about this stuff as if I, have any kind of real understanding and that be convincing. I can mimic it to a degree that, I feel like.
Yeah. Yes. I can parrot some of the fallacies. I can do that.
Yes.
Like, ooh, there's a straw man. But then they go down some of this stuff, and I'm just like, what are you even talking about right now?
Yeah, exactly. With like the problem of hard solipsism and stuff, like starting to talk about that shit. I'm like, okay, I'm already, my brain's in a pretzel, dude. Like, I don't know. I can't.
Well, and the other thing too is like, I think a lot about shows like AXP, and they're more now. But these people that want to call in and here's my evidence for God. Statement 1. I'm going to give you a syllogism. Okay, but like this random weird. If there was a beginning, and there had to be, if there's a creation, there has to be a creator stuff. Like, that doesn't get you anywhere. To me, that's just that's mental masturbation. I don't got time for that.
Well, and it's also playing their game, honestly. I feel like a lot of it's like, you don't have any reason to think this, I'm done. Like, you don't have any good reason. Like, now we're getting to the abstract so much that it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we're just playing.
And I know that's not why you believe in God.
Right.
You believe in God because you had you were brought up in it. You had some, experience that you link back to your God.
Right.
It's not because of some logical argument.
No, that's never what was convincing to them. It's just something that's post hoc that they're trying to go back and be like, well, I can say this now because, this really smart guy said it and now I got some ammo. And that's it. That's all it is. Yep. Oh, that's so funny. All right, so let's do another one out of the hat here. Let's see. Oh, this one's always fun. Because we have a nerd sort of section of our show.
Be nerding.
Yes. It's Marvel, DC, or Star Wars, or other. I gotta put Star Trek. I don't know why I'm doing that.
That's the answer.
Because that's 99% of the time. That's the answer.
It's funny. I never got into comic book superhero stuff. I never did, and it's strange. I don't know why, but I just didn't. But Star Trek, man, that's my jammy jams.
Yeah,
I love that. There is a very incriminating photo of me from when I was probably 12 or 13 with my mother. We ordered a pattern from, back then you had these catalogs that you had to order sci-fi shit from. You couldn't just go online. And we ordered a pattern, and she went out and bought fabric and made me a legit Star Trek: The Next Generation uniform shirt.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was such a geek, man. But I had all the Playmates action figures and the play sets and the ships, and I had models that I had put together, and I displayed this stuff all over my room, and that's the photo. That's the incriminating photo, is me in this Star Trek shirt with all of this just collector's memorabilia stuff behind me. I gotta tell you, I am living right now. There's 6 new Star Trek series on CBS All Access.
Right.
I have never paid for Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus, or I don't pay for nothing. I'll mooch off of brother-in-law's account or something.
You steal it from your neighbors,
I splice the cable. I will pop down $6 a month for CBS All Access.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's got a whole. That's where they're all at. Is all on that one platform.
Yes.
Wow. Because I definitely wanted to see the Picard one, and I'm like, fuck, man, I can't. Yep. God damn it, no.
It's so good because they have just taken threads from old series and just given them new life. The Discovery jumps off of the Captain Pike, which was in the pilot of the original. The original Star Trek was Captain Pike in the pilot, and then they recast Shatner.
And he went missing, right? I feel like I remember that. Correct.
Yeah, he was. There was a whole second. There were 2 episodes that tied that out. That he was with the Telosians, and but he got injured and was in this wheelchair-looking thing, and anyway, no spoilers because this comes back in Discovery decades later. We go back to it was so great because they would go back to old episodes and just pull a little thread from an episode that you loved and characters that you're going to recognize and connect with, and then spin this whole new story around it. Wow. That's just freaking amazing. And then Picard is a whole new adventure with him, much older and what he's doing now and after the events of the last movie, which was garbage, but we all kind of have to live with it. And I'm glad that they're fixing the canon here. You've got Lower Decks is the new animated series, which is hilarious. And all of the purists, all the Star Trek purists, that's not Star. It's fun. It's a good show, but it's not Star Trek.
Right. I know.
Your boomer parents said all of that shit when the Next Gen came out.
Right.
The people who grew up on Kirk and Spock, when Next Gen came out, they were the ones saying, well, this isn't Star Trek. Even though Gene Roddenberry himself was guiding that in the beginning years, this isn't Star Trek. And every series that's come along since has had that treatment. So it's like, no, you're being an idiot. These are great. These are great series. There's a new one launching that's where no man has gone before, or no one has gone before. It's just the Pike Spock series kind of continuing, that the fans just screamed so loudly for that that they were like, well, I guess we'll make it.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Holy shit. And I hear too that Quentin Tarantino is wants to do a Star Trek.
Yeah, I did. I heard that as well. Yeah.
That should be that'll be fascinating, honestly. I have no idea what to expect from that. Jesus Christ. That's so cool. Yeah, Star Trek is by far probably like the most, and I want to say Star Wars has all this stuff and everything, right? And it's very thought out, but I feel like it's lazily thought out a lot of times, it's just like skipping over stuff. I mean, George Lucas was just the king of abandonment. Be like, yeah, I don't know, there's something, whatever, just, you'll figure it out. And it's, why don't you write about it and then tell me, and I'll tell you if it's okay or not. How about that?
I feel like Star Wars, and I'm not a literary scholar, so I'm not going to say any of this the way I want to say it, but I feel like Star Wars is a retelling of classic tale, the hero's journey, that sort of thing. The stuff you learn about in like creative writing and film school and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Where Star Trek diverges from that is Star Trek is a place. It's a playground for stories to be told in that are unique and different, and they don't always follow the same script. That you're not just repeating the same old sort of storylines. That you can play around with it and be different, and because you're making up a whole species of people, they can be whatever you want them to be, and then you have to figure out how these people interact with each other, and then when you boil it all down, it comes down to a positive future, a positive view of the future, with a humanist base. I don't think that gets talked about as much. There is a series out there. Somebody did a video about humanism in Star Trek or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's the most progressive. I would argue that out of all the
one of my favorite Next Gen episodes was they went to a planet and Lwaxana Troi falls in love with this guy from this planet, and come to find out he's about to have a birthday basically and turn this certain age, and at this certain age they kill themselves. And the whole idea is that the way this species operates is they don't let life take its natural course to its completion. They say goodbye to their friends and families while they're still healthy and able to do it, so that their family doesn't have to watch them grow old and suffer and start to lose their mental faculties and their physical health. And so it was a different way of looking at death. And now, all these years later, we're talking about death with dignity, and the idea that if someone is in terminal, cancer or whatever, like they should be able to say, today's the day. I'm done. Check me out.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to think that all of these sort of seeds were implanted in me through Star Trek. All of these ideas that I think about now, and I'm like, wow, it all came to me originally through some Star Trek episode.
Wow, that's so cool. That is brilliant. Yeah.
So I love it. Very forward thinking. Even when they were a little racist, even when they were a little sexist, they were working within the medium and the sorry, my dog's going nuts.
You're back there.
We have company. They were working in the society that we lived in, and while it would be easy to say, well, they shouldn't have done that, and they should have just gone ahead and done the right thing no matter what. Well, you never would have had a show then. That would never have been put on the air if they had pushed that line too far.
Right.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally, I agree with you there. It's like, they really thought it out. And, you know, like I said, like Star Wars is more about the narrative, like you were saying. Like, it's more about this chosen one kind of narrative that just happens over and over and over again. And, which is fun, you know, but then it ends up kind of being like Terminator, where they're literally doing the same thing over and over and over again. But, I think I definitely got to watch a lot more Star Trek. I went back and watched some of it, but, starting from the beginning. And it was much better than I thought it would be. But, as someone who we're a Star Trek or a Star Wars family, okay, kind of guy, but I definitely am really enjoying.
Now that you can watch it without that veil of your religious upbringing, I think you'll see more. I think you'll catch those little things that you might have otherwise just looked at as a story element, and you'll see that kind of stuff now and go, oh, that is legitimately talking about the right to finish your life on your own terms.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I think
cool.
A watch through now would be different than
Absolutely.
now where you are in your journey now.
Yeah, because when I watched it when I was still a Christian, I didn't understand any of it. It just sounded like gibberish most of the time, and I just, I felt like it was all over the place. And it's like, well, yeah, because that's the way humans are, or any conscious being in this universe. That's just the way we are. We're all over the place, and that's great, And so there's this show, which I almost would love if the Star Trek creators did something like this. But there's a show on HBO called High Maintenance. Is it High Maintenance? Yeah, High Maintenance. And it's just this one guy that goes and he's a very small part of the show, but he delivers weed he just rides his bike around and he sells people weed. But then each episode is about just the people that he delivers weed to, and it's all these new characters basically every episode.
That's cool.
It's so diverse, and it's never negative, It's never like it's like the bad things that you expect to happen to make a narrative. Like, it's just people living, and the stories that we actually live out. And I think it's one of the best shows on television right now.
If I were to ask, how do I get this guy to deliver weed to me? But if I phrase it as, how can I be on this show? Is that a good cover story? Yeah. Wow, I want to be on that show.
Right. Yeah. And it'll, you'll hang out with them for 5 minutes, and then the cameras will just hang around you the rest of the show.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm down. We got to legalize weed here, y'all.
Yeah.
Stupid Florida.
Like, legitimately. Yeah, for recreation.
Imagine the tax money we would be pouring into anything we wanted to.
I don't get why they do this. It's like, you can make so much fucking money for the state, and for everything. Like, if you just tax this shit, and make it legal. This is so dumb that we're doing this.
Colorado's not perfect, but their school system's gotten a ton of money from that.
Right, yes. Oh, yeah. Big time. It's wow. Yeah, it is really cool. Okay, so let's do one more of these.
Okay.
And this one's I think we kind of covered it a little bit. Let's pull it out. It's Amy Coney Barrett. You excited about what she's gonna bring to the country?
No, this woman is a literal handmaiden. Okay. Okay.
Creepy.
I am furious at the way that the Republicans are just unashamedly.
Yeah.
Well, Merrick Garland. See, that was a whole different thing, because this is different because it's the president that we like, and he's going to put in somebody that we like, and that's really why it's different. But to hold a seat for 3 times as long at the end of Obama's term, and then to turn around now and just hypocritically be like, oh no, just kidding, that wasn't a rule.
Right.
Like, Mitch McConnell is just making shit up as he goes along, and he's gotta go. Kick him on his turtle shell back and float his ass down the river. That guy's got to go. NPR did a really good deep dive into this guy's into his history, how he got elected, how he came to power, and it's fucking terrifying. I can't remember the name of the show, which NPR show it was on, but if you Google up NPR Mitch McConnell, there is an interesting deep dive on just how insidious this guy really is, and he is, and I hope he gets his ass handed to him in this election. And if he doesn't, then we just need to take the Senate back, and then he won't be the Senate Majority Leader anymore.
No, yeah.
There's another sidebar that I want to go down on a tangent on, and I haven't gotten to talk to anybody about this really in any detail. So I just said we, right? I don't normally think I speak that way, but I don't normally think of myself as like a Democrat,
right?
And I think this is something I'm trying to impress this upon the people who I know in our local Democratic Party. But I think this is a message that people in all levels of Democratic leadership don't get, right? And that is, I don't identify as a Democrat. I identify as a progressive, I identify as a liberal, but I don't identify with Democrat, right? Republicans identify as being Republicans.
Oh, yeah.
Proudly. We talked about this after the election. Like, look what happened in 2016. Ted Cruz dropped out, and all the people who were lined out behind Ted Cruz moved and followed into somebody else's line. And then when one of them other people dropped out, then all of those people moved into one of the other lines until it was down to Trump, and everybody was in line behind him. What did Democrats do? Half of us went, fuck you, I'm not voting for Hillary.
Yeah.
But we don't have that authoritarian sort of structure. It's not innate in us to do that, to just line up behind our guy because this is our party. We don't have that. Right. But there are people in power who are playing the game as if that is who the people are. But just because you put a Democrat on the ticket, like, I'm going to vote for Biden because Trump's garbage.
Yeah.
But he's not the guy I wanted. He's the 9th guy I wanted out of 10. Marianne Williamson was at the end of that list.
Yes.
She's just crazy. But like, I just don't think the people who are running the parties really have a good handle on that. I don't know. Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right. It's just, and I think it's because of like the exclusivity, like the exclusive nature of the Republican Party, that, you know, we're about just this and this one demographic and this one belief system and this one everything. And the Democratic Party is everybody else, you know. And while we recognize, most of us recognize, you know, the problems with the Democratic Party, you know, super PACs and, you know, all that type of stuff. And
so many things, yep.
I mean, there's a ton of just problems with the Democratic Party. I mean, there, you know, there's a conspiracy part of my mind, you know, that constantly wants me to be like, are you guys getting paid to lose? Are you getting paid to be this stupid? Who's paying you to fucking bungle this shit on purpose and then pretend to be just I just didn't think, you know, Nancy Pelosi and, you know, what's her name that just went and hugged Lindsey Graham the other day? Anyway, but, you know, she just like pretend, you know, he went and broke the rules right in front of her, and then she was like, you know what, this was a great time. This was a great hearing, you know, and it's like, fucking, are you doing this on purpose? Like, who's paying you to do? But I'm not going to go there, but in my mind, but that's where my mind wants to go, is like, who's paying you to be this bad, kind of mentality. But, it's I don't know, it's tough, especially being like you know, like us being a progressive Democrat in this country, you know, because the Democrats aren't great. They're not great, you know.
My fear is, I think we're down to that moment of, and if you can listen back, and I think you and I had conversations about this during the 2016 election. You can go listen back to my show, and I was talking about this kind of stuff. I was hesitant. I didn't want Hillary. She wasn't my candidate of choice either.
No.
I voted for her, and I wasn't what's the word? I wasn't excited about her.
Yeah.
Just like I'm not about Biden. But the future of our democracy is so much more at stake this time, I think, because now we've seen what this fool is capable of, and another 4 years of that. Holy Jesus! And we can't not vote for whoever's against Trump. Like you could run an old stick, and I would vote for the old stick.
Right. And it kills me when like people are like, yeah, but you know, we always say that, this is the most important
election of our lives.
Exactly. And it's like, but you know what? If you go back and look at what's happening, it always was, because they continually get worse every time, and they get more underhanded and more, just egregious with the type of and belligerent with the type of tactics that they use. So that was actually true every single time we've said it. Because, now hadn't been yet. You know what I mean?
Have you heard of Humanists for Biden?
Yeah, I saw an ad on, I want to say, Facebook for that.
Yeah, so there's a new organization called the Secular Democrats of America. Florida has a chapter now that's trying to get the non-religious to have some more influence when it comes to elections and policy and all of those things, by being able to have an organization that can go in and say, hey, I'm representing however many hundreds of thousands or million or whatever people, your constituents who are in this organization that are non-religious, and you need to stop passing these stupid laws that give exemptions to religious people, and maybe just give us a little bit more power, and also to help organize us towards those things that we need to work on. Right.
And keep in mind, like, there's a lot of people here, and not everybody is that one thing and thinks that one way. It just it just kills me. I'm like, if Muslims start, you want to like, if Muslims started to become more popular in America, how would you feel? That's what I always have to ask, my family and stuff. How would you feel if they were having the Quran taught in school? How would you feel about if the teacher prayed to Allah and had your kid bow to their God and say their prayer? How would you feel?
Hey, when Muslims do it, it's Sharia law coming to take over our Christian nation. Exactly. When Christians do it, it's we're a Christian nation we should get to.
Right, yeah. And I can't recommend the Andrew Seidel's book, The Founding Myth, more. Yes. I mean, it's such a good book.
100%.
You got, if you read that, you got so many arrows in your quiver after that, for that.
I am not a big fan of Amazon for obvious reasons, but if you are an Amazon shopper, you can also support the Atheist Community of Polk County by going to smile.amazon.com and shopping that way. You can set the ACPC as your charity of choice, and Amazon will give us some of the money that you spend. It doesn't cost you anymore. It costs them, and I'm okay with that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, everybody do that. That's awesome. Because, there's a lot of these groups out there, but this one's new, and we need it to grow, and so if you're donating to a group that's already well established, you might want to move over to this, to the ACPC for a bit. Let's get this going, big time.
We sure appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome. It's long overdue. We've been meaning to. I think I've been on your show like 3 times on SarahTalk.
We've been talking about this for so long.
I know. Well, it's like always with the scheduling, it's difficult for us,
Yes.
Which is funny because we're actually in the same time zone. But I noticed that when I'm in different time zones, I'm actually better.
I work overnights, so I'm like impossible to schedule for anything.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get off of here and go to bed because I work tonight at 11 o'clock.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. That is, wow. See, and I work till 11 usually, so I'm like the middle, in between point from that and what's, I guess, normal. That's funny. But well, thank you so much again. We're gonna put all of the links in the show notes, and but we usually always do this sign off.
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're familiar.
Look, I'm a listener. I'm a listener, man. I'm not one of these schmucks that comes on here and doesn't know what you all do.
Like,
I'm singing all the interstitial songs. Oh yeah.
that's right. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's so cool. So then you know exactly what's coming next.
Yeah.
What do we say to the haters, discriminators, and masturbator shamers?
Fuck off.